Hi, my name is Angela, and this is my presentation on the implicit theories of intelligence predicting achievement across adolescent transition. Some background information on this topic. Adolescent years is seen to be challenging for several reasons. At least 40% of respondents rated adolescence as the worst time of their lives. They face many emotional changes and are likely to experiment with many unknowns. This ties in with the definition of adolescence, in which it is rapid maturational changes, shifting societal demands, conflicting role demands, increasingly complex social relations, and new educational expectations. Junior high transition, which is also middle school, is thought as the catalyst for future problems, as it is very different from elementary. This is due to the fact that there is a rise in competition, social comparisons being made, and self-assessment that adolescents have. These factors are associated with a lower ability to make decisions and damages support when they need it most. In order to understand what helps or hinders students' motivation and achievement during the adolescent years, two frameworks of implicit theory help explain intelligence. Entity theory is a fixed mindset and has difficulty in adapting with change. Incremental theory is a fluid mindset and is able to adapt to change without resistance. The research question for the study is, what are the psychological mechanisms that allow some adolescent students to flourish despite challenges in their adolescent years compared to others in their age group? The hypothesis is students who associate with incremental theory will have higher mathematical achievement than those who associate with entity theory. The goal is to investigate the role of implicit theories of intelligence in adolescents' mathematic achievement. In the study, there was 373 students, with 198 being females and 175 being males, who were in the 7th grade. 55% of the participants were African American, 27% were South Asian, 15% were Hispanic, and 3% were East Asian and European American. The average percentile was 75% in math. For the procedure, 7th graders filled out questionnaire assessing topics such as theory of intelligence in the fall. The researchers started obtaining prior math achievement scores from spring of 6th grade. This is also done at the end of 7th and 8th grade. This procedure was done to measure the implicit theories of intelligence and to assess the results as the participants progressed through school. So for study 1, the growth curve in mathematics grades for students that identified with either entity or incremental theory of intelligence was assessed. It was found that those that identified with incremental theory were positively associated with positive effort beliefs, learning goals, and positive strategies in which they self-motivate themselves to do better next time if they didn't feel satisfied with something. Therefore, the theory of intelligence became a significant predictor in predicting mathematical achievement during transition to junior high school. Knowing this, the incremental theory of intelligence predicts that for students that identify with the incremental implicit theory, they are more likely to achieve higher math grades by the end of their second year of junior high school. The limitations are that it was not representative of the population because one school was tested. Additionally, another limitation was that the study endorsed incremental theory correlated to higher grade averages. To improve further research needs to assess how incremental theory affects changes in motivational variables. Additionally, the effect size was small for the study. For the conclusions of study 1, measured the theory of intelligence as it relates to certain motivational variables. Students were followed and measured at 3 separate times: no intervention, pre-intervention, and post-intervention, and were measured in terms of intelligence. It was found that students that identified with endorsing incremental theory were more likely to have higher mathematical grades by the end of the second year of junior high. In study 2, there were 99 participants who were 7th graders at a public secondary school in New York City. 49 were females and 50 were males. 52% of participants were African American, 45% were Latino, and 30% were white and Asian. The average percentile was 35 in math. Their 6th grade math scores were used as a measure for prior student achievement. Researchers assessed outcomes from 7th grade fall and spring term math grades. The same questionnaire from study 1 was given to participants. At the beginning of spring term of 7th grade, the participants were given an intervention that was associated with incremental theory. This was given once a week, and there was a total of 8 sessions for about 25 minutes each. Afterwards, the participants were given post-intervention assessments on content. Then they re-administered the questionnaire 3 weeks after the last intervention session. In study 2, the relationship between the initial theory of intelligence and other motivational variables with the end of fall term mathematics grades for 7th graders were assessed. 48 participants in the 7th grade that were in the experimental group appeared to have an upward slope in their mathematical grades. The experimental group had a significantly higher score in incremental theory and positive motivation than the control group. The 43 participants in the control group appeared to have a downward slope in mathematics grades instead. Here we have a graph that shows the predicted mathematical grades achieved by the experimental and control group measured at 3 separate times. The experimental group has intervention while the control group does not. The control group has a continuous downward slope while the experimental group has an upward slope in mathematical grades after intervention. For this study 2, one of the limitations was that it was conducted in one school. Because this was conducted in one school, the results may not be representative of the target population. This connects with the next limitation, in that the sample size in the study was small. The study only included students, but not teachers and parents in the intervention. The students were also followed for a short time frame, and so this study does not evaluate the long-term effects of the implicit theory of intelligence. Also, the experimental group had received more anti-stereotyping training than the control group, which may have contributed to the findings of the study. In conclusion, the paper found that students who endorsed entity theory at the beginning of their 7th grade would benefit the most from intervention. In other words, they had an upward slope in their grades. Even one intervention was found to have significant effect on their motivation and achievement, while the correlation between incremental theory, motivation, and achievement were positive. The study will need to be replicated with more variables in order to confirm these results. And here are my references. Thank you for watching.